Today I'm going to do something different. Today I'm going to make a dessert. Last night I just had a hankering for something chocolate. You know how that goes. And I thought about a recipe that my cousin Trish posted on Facebook. Not sure where this came from, but it's called No Bake Chocolate Oatmeal Bars. So last night I thought, that's what I'll do, I'll make that. It was actually in the afternoon. This stuff isn't baked, but it does have to stay in the refrigerator for a couple hours. So I was gonna make it in the afternoon and have it for dessert after dinner last night. Unfortunately, I didn't have enough oatmeal. So today was my grocery day, so now I have enough oatmeal and I'm gonna make it. If it doesn't turn out good, you won't be seeing this video. So here's what's in it. Oats, of course, and I like to use old-fashioned oats. You cook these a little bit longer, but it's still rolled oats, and it calls for rolled oats. So I have 3 cups of that set aside over here. We need a cup of butter, which is 2 sticks. Each stick is a ½ cup. So we got our butter. We're gonna need some brown sugar. Here's my brown sugar. Of course, chocolate chips. And I happen to have this big bag. I keep these in the freezer once I've opened them. Just, I don't know if it helps, but that's where I keep them. And that's what I'm gonna use, a cup of those. I have that set aside. I need some peanut butter. I got peanut butter and vanilla, and I'm using Pinzies. I don't know what happened here, but Pinzies is delicious. Same place I get all my spices. Vanilla, and I think that's all. So the first thing we have to do is we need to line a 9-inch square pan with parchment paper. And I have some leftover or some pieces. Anyway, I'll show you what I'm gonna do. Look here. Okay, here's my pan, 9-inch square, and my scraps of parchment paper. That's gonna work out pretty well. Okay, I need to cut this a little bit to make it fit. So let's do that first. I have 2 pieces here. This is roughly a square that's gonna fit in the bottom, but I'm not gonna put that in first. I have this one long one, and this is just because I don't throw extra stuff away. I don't like to waste. So I have this. I'm gonna put this down here first, line the bottom, and let it just go up over the top. And then it wants to curl. I'm gonna put my square on top of that. And this is so that I can, pull it out once it's done easily from the pan. You could do one that way too, but I don't think I need to. So I'll set that aside and we'll start cooking. I've put the butter in a large saucepan. See over there, large saucepan. That's because I keep extra butter in the freezer. So that's frozen, so I'm not in a hurry to, put everything over there. It's got to melt, and that's going to take a little time. And anyway, I wanted to show you how we measure brown sugar. So here's my brown sugar. I need a ½ cup. So I'm going to put it in. And if it was white sugar, no problem. I would just fill it up and scrape across the top. But with brown sugar, you have to pack it in. And that's what the recipe says, a ½ cup of brown sugar packed. So when I fill it like this, I'm going to press it with a spoon, which pushes it down into the bottom, molding it to the bottom of the cup. So there's that. still a little dent, so I'll put a little bit more. Okay. And that's it. That's a 1/2 cup brown sugar. So let's go over here and put it in the saucepan with the butter. I'm going to turn that up to a medium heat. And I had this on just to, you know, hold in the heat so it would melt faster. I can see that it's starting to melt already. Splashed it on myself. All right, so I'll just go ahead and put that in. And I'm going to put the lid back on because there might be a frozen middle. I want it to thaw out. All right, I'll show you what it looks like once that's all melted. So you can see that the butter is melted now. You're supposed to cook it until the butter is melted and the sugar is dissolved. So it's kind of bubbling a little bit. This is medium temperature. I'm feeling like it should be incorporated. Ooh, but it seems to want to foam. So what I'm gonna do, actually that looks good. Is stir in the vanilla. There's a teaspoon of vanilla. Stir that in. And add the oats. Okay. Oh, it smells so good. Okay, now once I get this stirred in, just mix it all up. And then put the lid on. And we're going to cook it for 3 or 4 minutes. Oh, on low. Right. So there's that. Lid on. Turn it down to low. And cook it for 3 or 4 minutes. So I'm going to set the timer for 3 minutes. And I'll see you in 3 minutes. 3 minutes is up. So we're going to check and see if it's well blended, because that's what you do, is you cook it until everything is well blended together. So let's have a look. Oh, I did stir it about midway. Looks pretty well blended to me. I think that's good enough. Everything's mixed. It smells so yummy. Okay, so I'm going to come over here and put half of it in my prepared pan. And, okay. I think that's about half. And then I'm going to get a metal spoon to kind of smooth it and press it down. Because if I use the wooden spoon, it's just going to stick. So I'll just kind of make it neat, press it down in an even layer. Can't press it a lot, or it'll make the paper shift. But anyway, there it is. as even as possible. Okay. Now set that aside. We'll get back to it. Now, I'm gonna get this little bowl here. We need to do the chocolate part. So 1/2 cup of peanut butter. Should have done this ahead. All right, that's good enough. Okay. And 1 cup of chocolate chips. So we're gonna zap it in the microwave to melt the chocolate. And here we go. Doesn't say for how long. Obviously that's a microwave proof bowl. I think I'm gonna use my 30-second button, and we'll see how many times I have to press it again until we have a nice chocolatey peanut buttery sauce. I should say that on the recipe it says that you have to boil the sugar and butter until it's just right. If it's not boiled enough, then it'll be too soft. If it's boiled too much, it'll be too hard. But they didn't say how much too much, or, you know, how much was too much. Anyway, let's get that chocolate. I'll give it a stir and then put it back. Peanut butter's all nice and soft. So I'll just do this, you know, every 30 seconds until the peanut butter, until it's all melted and wonderful. I did it for another 30 seconds, so that was a total of a minute, and it was almost just right, but there were still some lumps of chocolate. So I put it in for about 10 more seconds, and let me show you. It's all melted. There are a few little tiny chunks. Sorry. There are a few little chunks, but that's good because I'd like, in the end, for this to be good and solid. And for chocolate to turn out good and solid, you need to temper it. And by tempering, I mean you melt it almost completely, but if there's a little bit in there, you stir until it's all melted. And well, that's how you get the nice hard chocolate that you want in something like this. So I'm going to pour all except for about 1/4 cup in here. This bowl is kind of hot, so be careful. Just save a little bit because we're going to drizzle that on the top. That looks good to me. Spread it out. Oh, I think this is going to be good. Yum. Okay, even it out. And we're going to put the rest of the oats on top. Oh, I can see a little bit separated. I hope that doesn't mean trouble. Just stir it up. Okay. Gently put it in, spreading it around. really careful with this part so that you don't end up with a swirl of chocolate instead of a layer of chocolate. Okay. Okay, now with my metal spoon again, I'm just gonna really gently pat that down. It's pretty soft. Okay, and then finally, last thing, we're gonna take the rest of that chocolate and drizzle it on the top. Probably could have put more in the middle, but whatever. Trying to get it around the edges also. And there it is. So all you do now is stick it in the refrigerator and leave it for a couple of hours, and then cut it up and you got your bars. So I'll start back in a couple of hours. Okay, it's been 2 hours and I just took it out of the refrigerator. So hopefully it's done. It feels pretty firm. So fingers crossed. Let's cut it up. Since I didn't put the paper on these two sides, I'm just gonna run a butter knife along the side to make sure it's loose. And hopefully this is gonna come out easily. Oh, yep, yay, done. And there it is. So I'm just gonna cut it up and probably put most of them back in the refrigerator. Oh yeah, that's great. That looks good. Cut it here. And do the same thing this way. Cut it in half. It's easier for me if I cut the whole thing in half and then cut these in half. And there they are. And of course, I have to taste one. So there you go. It's good.